Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle, Ali. And today I would like to build in a cipher on business, specifically nation's business, Nation of Islam in particular, and the Black Power movement in general. There is some constructive criticism out there, but it's misguided and misinformed. I'm gonna simplify something for y'all regarding doing for self when it comes to a business, when it comes to the Nation of Islam business. I wouldn't care if you're publishing books, if you're making newspapers, if you're making FOI uniforms, MGT uniforms, if you're building your own farmland and temples and mosques and hospitals and schools and hair salons and barbershops, what have you. Your supermarket, your bread, the Whitey H&G, fish import and export, under the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad himself. Do the research yourself, so you know, don't take nothing hook, line, and sinker. Nothing from me, nothing from nobody. You know what I mean? Do the math, do the research. Don't believe the hype as Public Enemy put it. You know what I mean? Short version. In the past, you know what I mean, as late or as early as the 1950s, Messenger Elijah Muhammad, the Supreme Minister, the last messenger, the first last messenger, the only messenger of Master Muhammad in person, our Supreme Captain, Raymond Sharif, and our Supreme Secretary, John Ali, that wrote the intro for books of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, such as How to Live and The Fall of America. You know what I mean? You know, those three individuals sat down and took counsel, and in their analysis, after suffering all types of controversies and financial expenses, dealing with these devils, the 10% rich trying to destroy everything from within and without, you know what I mean? The messenger basically was like, all right, listen, we need to incorporate the Nation of Islam. Now, a lot of people think that when you incorporate, that means that you got to abide by the white man's rules, regulations. Hold it. Stop the nonsense. If you are not incorporated and you're in the United States of America, you have to abide by the white man's rules and regulations. If you're incorporated, you got to abide by. Duh. You're not driving your car without the white man's permission. You're not using money. You're not going to the store and buy a tube of toothpaste and not pay a 6% sales tax, and that tax dollar is going to be used to wage war in Muslim countries and do all kind of crazy stuff. You're not your tax dollars, buying them and shipping that overseas, you know what I mean, for that Russia thing, and they, you know, that money that could be used to help build schools and farms and hospitals and fix the roads and feed the homeless and build houses and shelters right here. They like, we using this money even though you don't want us to use this money, like, because y'all not lobbying, y'all not organizing, I mean, y'all not nation building with it for real. Y'all going to temple service, y'all going to mosque services, you know what I mean? But the reality is, if you have a Islamic school, an Islamic masjid or mosque, an Islamic temple, Islamic business, if you're going in the prison system, you're not going in the prison system teaching nothing unless you sign off. You know what I mean? It's like the ministers of the Nation of Islam sign contracts with the Department of Corrections. Now, I mean, they got to go through the security captain in there. Now, I mean, they got to go through the chief operating officer, the superintendent, the deputy superintendent of operations, the deputy superintendent of treatment, the whole nine. They gonna get searched before they come in there. They put your message to the black man down. Take the, I mean, that's the reality of where we at. So it's like, okay, that said, we understand the reality of where we at. Now, I mean, you know, we understand the reality of the world. You're not going to listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's swan song. You're not going to listen to a tape of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, or the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, or Father of Law. You're not going to listen to the Afrocentric community on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter till you first sign a contract with the white man, with the CEO, with the board of directors, with the terms and conditions, all this mumble jumble like, yeah, you can't do this, that, and the other. No, you're not coming on here talking no radical stuff. No, you're not coming on here propagating violence. Know what I mean? So it's a thing like, yeah, all that's in it. But in war, you get in where you fit in. Know what I mean? It's like, yeah, sometimes you gotta eat out your helmet. You gotta eat in the trenches. Yeah, you know what I mean, doing your little beautiful boot camp training. Know what I mean? You know, you spit shine your shoes. Know what I mean? You got your fresh shave, your bow tie on, your FY uniform at the dry cleaners. That's beautiful. But that's the training. That's FOIMGT training. Now, when it comes to the war of Armageddon, you're not going to the cleaners. Them boots ain't gonna look so shiny, brother and sister. Know what I mean? It might be some blood stains on them things. It might be some mud on that beautiful garbs of yours. Know what I mean? You might feel some hunger pains. Know what I mean? You know, things that you normally would not eat, you may have to eat, know what I mean, in survival mode. Know what I mean? So it's a thing where I have no illusions that we are at war. I don't have to turn on CNN, oh, Russia, no. Long before any of that, we are at war right here, right now. I mean, this war started way before I was born, and my father was born, and my mama was born, and my grandparents, or my great-grandparents. Yeah, it's a 6,000-year-old war we've been at. Know what I mean? But most of us don't even realize it. Know what I mean? So the messenger of Allah back then, and the Nation of Islam in 2022, the nation, like say for example, let's look at the strongest, the most wealthiest, the most recognized above ground apparatus, say the Final Call Islam. It's the Final Call Islam Incorporated. It's Muhammad's Holy Temple of Islam Incorporated on Dun & Bradstreet. They registered with the largest Caucasian credit builder in the world. That tells me it's some smart folks back there behind them bow ties, under them guards. It's some brilliant brains under you. You may want to critique, disagree, whatever, but the thing is, you got to understand business. Message to the black man in America, 1965. I like to give you a quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Get business minded. He's telling us we're not business minded. We too spooky when it comes to this paper. I mean, it's like, yo, I mean, it's getting ridiculous. And things is getting critical. So we got to get this paper right. Now, I mean, you know, it's like we don't compromise our morals and principles and standards for the devil's dying dollar. That ain't what I'm talking about in any stretch of the imagination. But my thing is, you got to be strategic. You got to be analytical in your thinking. Now, I mean, you got to be, you know, one that understands how to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. As we say in the divine ethics amongst the supreme angels, it's better to have money that you don't have than to need money that you don't have. Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle. I'll leave.